Imagine for a moment that you are sitting in a doctor's office. You are in terrible pain. It feels like a sharp, twisting sensation deep in your stomach, but when the doctor asks you what is wrong, the only word you have is hurt. You say, "Doctor, I hurt." Because you can only use that one general word, the doctor can only give you a general painkiller. But the medicine does not work because you actually have a specific injury that needs a specific surgery. This is a terrifying scenario physically, yet we do this to our minds every single day. We feel a storm of sensations inside our chest, a mix of disappointment, exhaustion, and perhaps a little bit of betrayal. But when someone asks us how we are, or when we look in the mirror, we just say that we are stressed. Or maybe we say we are sad. We use black and white words to describe a technicolor world. Psychologists have a term for this limitation. They call it low emotional granularity. It is like trying to watch a beautiful, complex movie on a screen from the 1990s with only a few jagged pixels. You cannot see the details. You cannot see the truth. And because you cannot see it, you cannot heal it. Welcome to Mira's English podcast, a space where we explore the intersection of language, psychology, and the human soul. I am Mira, and today we are going to upgrade the resolution of your emotional life. We are going to learn the precise, beautiful, and sometimes haunting English vocabulary needed to name your inner world. Because there is a powerful truth in neuroscience that says you cannot tame what you cannot name. Let us begin by looking at the way we live now. Most of us live in what I call low resolution. We treat our emotions like a nuisance, something to be brushed aside so we can get back to being productive. When a bad feeling arises, our brain quickly categorizes it into a big, messy box labeled bad or unpleasant. For example, your boss criticizes your work in front of a colleague. Your heart races, your face feels hot, your stomach drops. Later, you tell your friend that you are just angry. But is it anger? Or is it humiliation? Or perhaps it is indignation, which is a specific sense of injustice because you know you did nothing wrong. If you label it as anger, your brain prepares you to fight. Your blood pressure stays high. You might snap at your partner later that evening. But if you had labeled it as humiliation, your brain would have understood that what you actually needed was comfort and reassurance, not a fight. By mislabeling the emotion, you applied the wrong medicine to the wound. This is why so many of us feel stuck. We are trying to solve a problem we have not accurately defined. The first step to high emotional granularity is to stop using the big, lazy words. The biggest trap is the word sad. Sadness is not just one thing. It is a spectrum, a landscape with valleys and shadows. Let us walk through the vocabulary of sadness together, and I invite you to see which of these words resonates with your heart right now. The first word is wistfulness. This is a very gentle, almost sweet kind of sadness. Wistfulness is when you look back at the past with a quiet longing. It is not a painful regret. It is the feeling you get when you look at an old photograph of yourself from 10 years ago. You see how young you looked, and you wish you could go back there for just an hour, but you also know you cannot. You smile, but your eyes are a little wet. That is wistfulness. It is a sadness that smells like old books and dried flowers. If you are feeling this, you do not need cheering up. You just need a moment of silence to honor your journey. Now, let us go a little deeper into the shadows. We find the word melancholy. In modern society, we are terrified of being sad, but the romantic poets and artists of the 19th century loved this word. Melancholy is a deep, pensive, and long-lasting sadness. But here is the secret about melancholy. It is not necessarily negative. It is a state where you are fully present with the heaviness of life. It is the feeling of sitting in a coffee shop on a rainy afternoon, watching the water slide down the glass. You feel alone, but you do not feel lonely. You feel deep. If you are experiencing melancholy, do not try to force yourself to go to a loud party. Your soul is asking for art, for poetry, or for deep music. Melancholy is the fertile soil where creativity often grows. But what happens when the sadness loses its beauty? What happens when it becomes heavy and crushing? We have a word for that too. It is grief. We usually use the word grief when someone dies. But you can feel grief for many things. You can grieve a lost friendship. You can grieve the version of yourself that you thought you would become, but did not. Grief is distinct from sadness because it is physical. It feels like a weight on your chest. It changes how you breathe. When you identify your feeling as grief, you stop trying to fix it. You understand that grief is not a problem to be solved. It is a process to be witnessed. It demands patience. And then, there is a word that sits at the very bottom of this well. It is despondency. This is a word we do not use enough, but we feel it often. Despondency is different from depression, although they are cousins. Despondency specifically means a loss of hope or courage. It is the feeling of giving up. It is the moment you drop your hands to your sides and say, "What is the point?" It is a gray, flat emptiness. Naming this is crucial. If you say you are sad, people will try to make you laugh. But if you admit you are despondent, you are acknowledging that your spirit is tired. You do not need a joke. You need a hand to hold and a reason to believe again. Now that we have looked at the spectrum of sadness, I want to take you to a place that English speakers often find difficult. Sometimes, we feel things that seem impossible to describe. We feel a mix of emotions that seem to contradict each other, or we feel a sensation so specific that we think we are the only person in the world who has ever felt it. This is where we must become linguistically brave. We need to borrow concepts and create combinations to capture the complexity of the human experience. One of the most common complex states we experience in the modern world is a French concept that has made its way into the English consciousness, known as ennui. Please be careful not to confuse this with simple boredom. Boredom is when you have nothing to do and you are fidgeting. Ennui is much more profound. Ennui is a feeling of listlessness and dissatisfaction arising from a lack of occupation or excitement. But in a deeper sense, it is an existential weariness. It is when you have a job, a house, and friends, yet you look at your life and feel a dull, aching grayness. It is the realization that the things you thought would make you happy have left you feeling empty. It is a spiritual exhaustion. When you can say, "I am suffering from ennui," you stop blaming yourself for being lazy. You realize your soul is hungry for meaning, not just entertainment. Another sophisticated state of mind is ambivalence. We often use this word to mean we do not care, but that is incorrect. The prefix ambi means both. Ambivalence implies that you have strong feelings in two opposing directions at the same time. You love your partner, but you also hate how they make you feel small. You are excited about your new job, but you are terrified of failing. This tension can be exhausting. Often we try to choose one side. We tell ourselves, "I should just be happy." But true emotional maturity is the ability to hold both truths in your hands without crushing either one. When you say, "I am feeling ambivalent," you give yourself permission to be complicated. You stop fighting the internal civil war. Let us move to a feeling that is very common for those of us who are sensitive or empathetic. Have you ever looked at someone you love, maybe your child sleeping or your partner laughing, and felt a sudden, sharp spike of fear that you might lose them? It is a mix of overwhelming love and terrified vulnerability. In English, We do not have a single common word for this, but there is a term often used in psychology called foreboding joy. It is the paradox that in our happiest moments, we are most afraid because we have something to lose. Understanding this helps you stay in the moment. Instead of letting the fear steal your joy, you can recognize it as a symptom of how much you care. You can say to yourself, "I am afraid because this is precious." There are also emotions that are distinct to our digital age, feelings that our ancestors might not have known. Think about the feeling of being left out. In the past, if your friends had dinner without you, you might never know. Today, you open your phone and see the photo. That specific sinking feeling in your stomach, that mix of rejection, loneliness, and comparison, is often referred to by the acronym FOMO, or fear of missing out. But I prefer to look at it through a darker, more poetic lens. It is a form of social exile. It triggers a primal fear that we have been kicked out of the tribe.
When you name it, you can soothe your inner child. You can remind yourself that an image on a screen does not define your worth. As we continue to expand our vocabulary, we find that some of the most healing words are those that describe our connection to others and to the world. We spend so much time analyzing our pain, but we must also have high granularity for our joys and our connections. If you only have the word love, you are trying to paint a masterpiece with a single tube of red paint. One of the most beautiful words in the English language regarding connection is solicitude. This is more than just care or concern. Solicitude is an attentive, eager, and protective kind of care. It is the way a mother watches her child take their first steps.
It is the way a nurse checks on a patient in the middle of the night. It implies a gentle anxiety for the well-being of another. When you act with solicitude, you are stepping outside of your own ego and fully dedicating your attention to someone else's safety and comfort. Recognizing when you receive this from others is a powerful antidote to loneliness. Another powerful word regarding connection, one that requires a very high level of emotional maturity, is compersion. This is a concept that acts as the beautiful opposite of jealousy. Imagine your ex-partner, someone you once loved deeply, finds a new relationship and is incredibly happy. Or imagine your colleague gets the promotion you wanted. The instinctive reaction is often jealousy or bitterness, but compersion is the feeling of genuine joy for another person's happiness, even if that happiness does not involve you. It is the ability to look at someone shining and feel warmth instead of envy. Cultivating compersion does not mean you are not human, or that you do not feel a pinch of sadness. It simply means your capacity for love is larger than your ego. As we expand our linguistic horizons, we sometimes find that English, for all its richness, has gaps. There are specific human experiences that English simply forgot to name. To truly heal, we sometimes need to become global citizens of emotion. We must borrow words from other cultures to fill the silence in our own hearts. Let us look to the Japanese for a concept that is essential for anyone who has ever felt broken. The word is Kintsugi. Literally, it refers to the art of repairing broken pottery with gold lacquer. Instead of hiding the cracks, the artist highlights them, making the bowl more beautiful and valuable because it has been broken. Metaphorically, Kintsugi is an emotional state where you accept your flaws and your scars as part of your history. You stop trying to pretend you were never hurt. You realize that your healing journey is the gold that holds you together. When you feel this, you are not damaged goods. You are a masterpiece of resilience. From the German language, we find a word that describes a specific kind of longing that many of us feel in a confined world. That word is Fernweh. We know homesickness, which is a longing for the familiar. Fernweh is the opposite. It is an ache for distance. It is being homesick for a place you have never been. It is a craving to leave everything familiar behind and disappear into the unknown. If you feel this, do not mistake it for simple unhappiness with your life. It is your soul asking for expansion. It is a sign that you are ready to grow, and perhaps one of the most poignant words comes from the Portuguese language. It is saudade. This is more than just missing someone. Saudade is a deep emotional state of nostalgic or profound melancholic longing for an absent something or someone that one loves. Moreover, it often carries a repressed knowledge that the object of longing might never return. It is the love that remains after the person is gone. When you label your pain as saudade, you honor the depth of what you lost. You acknowledge that the pain is the price of a great love, and that makes the pain bearable. Now you might be wondering why this matters. Is this just an intellectual exercise? Is this just poetry? No, this is biology. This is neuroscience. There is a fascinating mechanism in our brains called affect labeling. When you experience a strong negative emotion, the amygdala, which is the alarm bell of your brain, goes into overdrive. It screams danger. It floods your body with cortisol. You feel overwhelmed. But brain imaging studies show that the exact moment you find the precise word for your emotion, the activity in the amygdala decreases. Simultaneously, the activity in the right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex increases. This is the part of the brain responsible for logic, reasoning, and planning. Think of it this way. An unnamed emotion is like a monster in a dark room. It looks giant. It is terrifying because you cannot see its edges. But when you name it, when you say, "This is not just stress, this is disappointment," you turn on the light. The monster is still there, but now you can see exactly how big it is. You can see where it stands. And because you can see it, you can handle it. You move from being a victim of your emotions to being the observer of them. This is the beginning of control. This is the beginning of peace. So, how do we practice this in real life? How do we move from low resolution to high definition? I invite you to try a practice called the granularity check-in. The next time you feel a wave of intense feeling, do not suppress it. Do not numb it with your phone or food. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is the most obvious word for this? Your brain will likely offer you something simple like, I am mad. Then, challenge yourself. Ask, what else is this? Look underneath the anger. Is it hurt? Is it fear? Is it shame? Keep drilling down until you find a word that makes your body relax slightly. You will know you have found the right word because it will feel like a key turning in a lock. There will be a physical sensation of release, a quiet, ah yes, that is it. If you cannot find the word in English, make one up, or describe it in a metaphor. You can say, I feel like a gray cloud is sitting on my chest. Even that description is better than silence. We must remember that our internal life is the only house we will live in forever. If we only have a few crude tools, we can only build a crude shelter. But if we have a toolbox filled with precise, sharp, beautiful instruments, we can build a cathedral. We can build a sanctuary that can withstand the storms of life. The words you use become the world you live in. If your vocabulary is limited to good and bad, your life will be flat and black and white. But if you embrace the full spectrum, the wistfulness, the compersion, the saudade, the ennui, your life becomes a rich, vibrant tapestry. It might be messy, it might be complicated, but it will be real, and it will be yours. Thank you for spending this time with me on Mira's English podcast. I hope you found a word today that belongs to you. Before you go, I have a small request. In the comments below, I would love for you to share one word, either from this episode or one you found yourself, that describes exactly how you are feeling in this chapter of your life. Let us create a dictionary of human experience together. Remember, you do not need to be happy all the time to be healthy. You just need to be honest. Until next time, take care of your heart and keep finding your words.